Young Thug always had questions about Future, especially when it came to loyalty and women. But now, after some wild new footage of Future hanging out with Thug's girl hit the internet, those doubts might have just exploded into reality.
That's why I say the internet can get really judgmental. They can just like assume certain things, and it's like, I'm actually very happy in my relationship. The only missing piece is his physical presence.
While Thug was locked up, things got real messy behind the scenes. We've got every single detail, so let's unpack this chaos.
I think, personally, no matter what I came out of jail and did, it still would have came out one day. Me personally.
Back in September 2025, Atlanta's whole rap scene went crazy when some of Thug's jail call recordings started surfacing online.
I understand what you're saying, because it still came out when the whole world looked at me as a real. My jail phone call got leaked.
These clips weren't just personal, they were pure internet dynamite. Hidden in all that drama, though, was one rumor that had the streets buzzing like crazy. Word was that Future might have been getting a little too close with Thug's main girl, Mariah the Scientist, while Thug was still behind bars fighting his case. The gossip blogs ate it up. Everybody was waiting to see who was about to get exposed next.
Thug was like, man, I was flirting. So you in a terror like you a different type of street. They've been calling Thug a unicorn. Like I ain't calling it.
The Rico case took a massive toll on everyone involved.
People were saying Future been moving wild, and fans couldn't stop talking. The Atlanta scene was on fire with everyone trying to figure out if the rumors were real or just more industry smoke. These September 2025 leaks didn't just spark gossip, they blew it up. The word spreading fast was that Future might have actually bagged Thug's girl, and that sent shockwaves through the city.
And that's what they come at, that's what they tried to put me in, the revolving door. 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
If he can mess up one time in those 5 or 10 years.
You get that whole time.
People started pointing fingers fast. Some said it was Mariah the Scientist, Thug's current girl. Others were calling out his ex, Jerica Carley, or even his baby mama, Cleopatra Dews.
That's what they love you to do, put you in that revolving door.
Right. Young Thug has 15 years probation. If he violates, he can get 20 years. Do you think that Thug could go 15 years without violating?
The whispers about Future sliding through Thug's circle go way back to the mid-2000s, right when those two were beefing heavy and running in the same Atlanta lanes. You know how it goes in the rap scene. These stars all cross paths with the same crowd of models, influencers, and industry girls. So once the rumors dropped, things got messy real quick. Those leaked calls were straight up awkward for everyone involved, but fans couldn't stop watching.
Man, them folk coming out of trees and all type snipers. You hear me? Drones, helicopters, all type shit. Them folk, what?
They gave the internet a raw peek at how these trap icons really move when the cameras ain't rolling. It was like the hood got a behind-the-scenes pass and people were locked in.
What? Pretty much.
Yeah. Because you end up facing additional charges because you were with him. So you're facing 12 counts.
Flashback to that Twitter chaos in 2015 to 2016. Metro Boomin was online talking wild about mixtape drops and sparking drama,
including racketeering, murder, guns, drugs, and street gang participation.
But word on the street said the real issue wasn't just music, it was the women caught in the mix. Early gossip threads on places like Lipstick Alley and old Twitter posts claimed Future had been linked with Jerica Carley, Thug's main girl from 2015 to 2019.
What did you think when people were concerned when you were on the red carpet with Young Thug and he was like walking? It was a brisk walk.
Yeah.
He pulled you along.
I'm gonna tell the story. I'm gonna tell the story now because everybody always wants to know about it, right?
Yeah.
So
Jerica was leveling up in her modeling game and running her business moves, but blogs said she and Future got close at some industry parties. A 2016 blog post even claimed there was more going on than people thought, and that rumor lit the city up all over again. When Thug was out of town handling business, the rumors started spinning out of control.
The BT thing,
yeah.
Of course, he's like, if you want to go, we can go, but realistically, like, just be prepared for like some commotion, right?
It's the red carpet, and to be fair, all red carpets are crazy.
And like I said, I be late sometimes. This particular day.
But when he got locked up on those Rico charges back in May 2022, everything went from whispers to chaos. While Thug was behind bars, the talk in the streets switched focus, this time to the other women in his circle.
This particular day, I wasn't late yet, but by the time the long line of multiple people who are also arriving at the same time of you has all factored through, now being on time, we're late. And so we get there.
In March 2023, somebody hopped on Instagram Live claiming to know what really went down, saying Future had been seeing Cleopatra dues while Thug was still locked up.
And they're telling us the part where they take the pictures is like closing. So you're gonna have to go circle around the entire event and come back through the end.
Oh.
They even tied it back to a 2022 club sighting where both were supposedly spotted together. But it was what came out in the actual leaked calls that really had everyone's jaws dropping. Those recordings exposed way more than anyone expected, talking about Future's so-called player lifestyle and how he allegedly moved around with different women.
To where you take the picture at. But when we get there, he has the mask on, so no one's acknowledging at first glance that it's him.
Right.
So they're like telling us, it's closed. You're wasting your time to come and try to take the picture, even though the upper heads have told us it's okay, go that way. Right.
Thug and Mariah were caught discussing what they called a pattern of Future treating his girls wrong, and fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. In those private convos, Thug and Mariah gave their take on Future's rumored relationships and the way he handled things behind the scenes. They talked about how he supposedly treated women and even mentioned the money side of it, like there might have been some kind of arrangements going on. It painted a wild picture of how things really worked in that circle.
Now that we're going, I guess maybe he didn't like
the energy.
How they addressed it, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they said, in fact, if you really rewatch the video, I'm trying to pull him to take the picture because I'm thinking, I look so good right now. We got to photograph this.
The way Thug and Mariah talked about these so-called patterns showed this wasn't just a one-time convo. They'd clearly been chopping it up about Future for a while. They painted him as someone who moved real wild when it came to the women in his life. Mariah speaking up so much in those convos would later turn into a huge deal once rumors started flying that she might have been the one getting close to Future herself.
Absolutely did.
He like, but they saying no. We ain't like, they're literally saying no. Just, you know, you don't want to, just let them be. It's fine. They gonna see it.
He's taking the high road. He's like, all right.
Right. And plus, he's done it already. He's already done this.
Her detailed talk about Future's alleged behavior and the way she joined in roasting him set off a whole storm online. Fans were connecting dots, dropping theories, and turning social media into one big detective board. The drama got so deep that people couldn't tell what was truth or just gossip, but everyone was tuned in. Those private convos between Thug and Mariah about Future's rumored lifestyle became the spark for even more speculation. Folks started wondering if Mariah was actually part of the same story she was talking about.
How did y'all meet?
I met him in March of 2021.
Wow.
That's when we met for the first time face to face. The first time we met, he was like, I want you. And I was like...
And that's where the irony hit hard. Here was Mariah speaking down on how Future treated women, acting like she was calling him out, while whispers were spreading that she might have been in the same situation herself while Thug was locked up.
Me?
Right.
And he has like a stoic presence, which I really like about him, and I like to think that about myself, but he definitely has like...
When those September 2025 leaks dropped, they didn't just stir up talk, they reignited every old rumor from the streets, and it all came crashing back louder than ever.
He's very stoic. And I thought he had... I feel like everybody, we were familiar with him being in a long-term relationship, so I kind of like avoided it because I didn't want to be that girl. You know what I mean? So... But this is why I always tell my friends, check his credentials when he's saying he got something going on.
The timing of everything made it even messier. All this talk started popping off right when Thug was admitting to his own cheating in those same leaked calls. That had people wondering, was all this shade toward Future really about his lifestyle, or was it personal? Some fans thought Thug was lashing out from a place of betrayal, not just concern.
Or don't got something going on, check his credentials, let him, time will tell. So I waited it out a couple of months.
Okay.
I waited out for 6 months, and then we got in a relationship in October.
Damn, that's more than a couple months.
6 months, I just needed to see that he was like...
During Thug's bid, Mariah had been out here doing interviews, talking like her love for him was solid and unbreakable. She painted herself as loyal, standing strong for her man while he fought his case. So when these new allegations hit, it shocked everyone.
I was like a little more impulsive when I was younger, and I didn't want to be like... Because I really did like him, and I didn't want to like f it up.
Supporters who saw her as the definition of ride or die felt confused and hurt, like the story had flipped overnight. Then came the wildest rumor of them all, that Future and Mariah had actually hooked up while Thug was locked down. That's the kind of claim that could explain the anger in Thug's tone on those leaked calls. An ex-post from @SkiMaskMedia on September 7th, 2025 straight up asked, "Did Future mess with Mariah the Scientist?" and linked a clip of Thug venting about betrayal. Thumbnails and video titles like "Future smashed Young Thug's girl and he cried" were everywhere. One content creator even claimed they had inside info on an entanglement, pulling in over 100,000 views in just days. The internet was losing it. By then, fans started playing detective, digging through Mariah's lyrics from her 2024 track Rainy Days like it was a mystery puzzle. Lines like "but you know I got a man" suddenly hit different. Some saw it as her denying an affair, while others thought it was her way of hinting at something deeper. Either way, people were convinced her lyrics were hiding clues about a secret connection with Future, while Thug was still behind bars. This whole street scandal was just the warm-up, because what came next was straight chaos. The real face-off between Young Thug and Future was about to blow up in the most unfiltered way possible through those leaked jail call recordings. What started as harmless hood chatter turned into something way deeper once people heard Thug's real thoughts about his former friend and collaborator. These conversations didn't sound like simple shade. This was raw emotion, years of bottled up resentment finally spilling out. The energy in those calls showed just how deep things had gotten between two of Atlanta's biggest trap icons. Fans were shocked hearing how personal the talk got. This wasn't rap beef, this was real-life tension built over time. The leaked recordings captured multiple convos where Thug spoke directly about Future, and every word sounded like a wound reopening. The tone was full of disappointment and anger, proving this wasn't just gossip. It was something that had been simmering behind closed doors for a long time. Thug's pointed criticism of Future, another Atlanta legend, took their already complicated relationship and turned it into a full-blown public mess. What had once been brotherhood turned into bitterness, and the world was listening. During his convos with Mariah the Scientist, Thug went off calling Future unreliable, fake in his business moves, and even questioning his loyalty as a father. It was brutal, emotional, and totally unexpected, like listeners were hearing a friendship fall apart in real time. What really pushed Thug over the edge was Future allegedly refusing to perform at a free Thug benefit show while Thug was still fighting his case. That moment hit deep. It wasn't just business, it felt personal. Thug saw it as a major betrayal from someone he viewed as real family and a trusted collaborator. The reason Future supposedly gave for skipping the show only made things worse. He claimed he didn't want to steal Thug's shine, but Thug wasn't buying that for a second. He took it as straight disrespect and fake energy, especially coming from someone he had built hits in history with. Thug's frustration was clear as day when he started breaking down the excuse in those calls. To him, it sounded like pure cap, an excuse to avoid standing next to him when things got rough. And that hurt because these two had dropped Super Slimy together back in 2017, one of the hardest collabs in the trap era. Thug knew what was really going on. Future didn't want to get tied to his legal drama while the spotlight was hot. That kind of move hit Thug hard, showing him the truth about loyalty in the rap world. To him, Future's refusal showed the ugly side of the game, the part where friendship fades the minute trouble shows up. It wasn't just about a show, it was about who was really solid when things got real. Thug didn't hold back. He straight up called out the fake energy he saw in Future's actions. He said if the roles were reversed, he would have supported a free Future movement with no hesitation, no excuses, and no second thoughts. That hit hard because Thug was basically saying, "I'd ride for you, but you wouldn't do the same for me." That comparison cut deep. It showed how Thug viewed the situation as more than just disappointment, it was a test of character. In his eyes, Future's refusal proved one thing: he wasn't built for real loyalty when life got tough. Thug believed that true street loyalty should be solid no matter what, especially when somebody's freedom is on the line. But then, the conversation turned even more personal. Thug stopped talking business and started going for the heart, questioning Future's behavior, his authenticity, and even his mindset as a man and an artist. One of the hardest parts of his rant came when Thug accused Future of being two-faced in the studio, asking for advice behind closed doors, but acting like he didn't need help in public. To Thug, that fake fronting said everything about who Future really was. It wasn't just about loyalty anymore, it was about respect, pride, and the difference between keeping it real or playing a role. Thug laid it all out. He said Future used to hit him up in private, asking for advice and feedback on music. According to Thug, Future would come to him for help with lyrics, flow, and even song structure, showing he clearly respected Thug's creative mind when no one else was watching. But the second other people showed up, especially when women were around, Future would switch up completely. Thug said he'd act like he didn't need any help at all, suddenly too cool to take input. That fake fronting just to look independent in front of a crowd made Thug furious. To Thug, that two-faced energy was the worst kind of fake behavior you could have in the industry. It wasn't just about ego, it was about respect. The idea that Future would privately praise Thug's talent but publicly downplay it hit him right in his pride. It made Thug feel like Future was all image, no loyalty. In Thug's eyes, this was the perfect example of what's wrong with so many relationships in the rap world. People acting one way behind closed doors and another when the cameras are on. That's why Thug didn't hold back. He even questioned Future's intelligence and authenticity, saying he was out here performing for the world instead of keeping it real. Thug didn't just talk about loyalty, he went straight for Future's image and the way he moved around women. You could hear the pain in his words every time he called Future fake. It wasn't just an insult, it was a reflection of how betrayed he felt. That one word showed how completely his view of Future had changed, both as a friend and as an artist. The deepest cut came when Thug shifted from talking music to talking morals. He started calling out Future's parenting and his treatment of women, turning the conversation from rap talk into something way more personal. Thug positioned himself as the one with real family values, someone who stood on responsibility and respect, while accusing Future of caring more about fame than family. That part hit different because Thug wasn't just questioning Future's career moves, he was questioning the man himself. The tone turned cold, like he'd lost all respect for someone he once admired. Then Thug took it even further, comparing Future to Bob Marley, but not in a flattering way. He made it clear the issue wasn't having multiple kids or baby mamas, it was how you handle that responsibility. Thug basically said Future was out here chasing image and lifestyle instead of being there for his kids. That comparison to a legend like Bob Marley stung because it framed Future as the total opposite. Someone putting fame before fatherhood. Thug didn't hold back. He said Future was 100% locked in with the fame, not 100% locked in with his kids. That one line hit like a punch, cutting straight to the heart of his frustrations. But it didn't stop there. The leaked calls showed that Thug truly believed he had shaped Future's creative path. He claimed he'd been the one dropping game, helping Future level up musically and teaching him the ropes of the industry. That claim couldn't be confirmed, but it revealed just how deep Thug's resentment ran. In his mind, Future had turned his back on the very person who helped him grow, showing zero gratitude after years of creative brotherhood. To Thug, that wasn't just betrayal, it was disrespect on a personal and artistic level. Once the calls hit the internet, the reaction was wild and split straight down the middle. Some people sided with Thug, saying he was just speaking truth out of pain. Others thought he'd gone too far, airing private emotions so publicly. But one thing was clear, the damage was done. Any chance of a reunion between these two Atlanta heavyweights vanished overnight. Future's team tried to play it cool, brushing off the leaked calls as old jail talk and acting like they weren't pressed about it. But when words that personal hit the public, they don't just fade away. The world heard them and fans weren't forgetting anytime soon. Still, these fiery conversations were just one layer of a much bigger story, the storm surrounding Thug's life and career. Between his legal fights, the Rico case, and the pressure of the spotlight, this drama was just another chapter in a years-long battle for loyalty, reputation, and survival in the modern trap scene. The saga was far from over, it was only getting deeper. Young Thug, real name Jeffrey Lamar Williams, found himself at the center of one of the biggest and most watched legal battles in hip-hop history. His high-profile Rico case kicked off with his shocking arrest on May 9th, 2022, and the way it went down had everybody talking. When federal agents and local law enforcement stormed in on the YSL crew, it didn't look like a regular arrest, it looked like a full-on military raid. The operation hit hard and fast, leaving everyone in YSL stunned and shaken. The level of force used that day had people inside and outside the industry in disbelief, like the system wanted to make an example out of Thug and his whole movement. Prosecutors in Fulton County, Georgia came out strong, claiming that YSL, Young Stoner Life Records, wasn't just a label, but a criminal street organization tied to violence, drugs, and a long list of other crimes. That accusation sent shockwaves through the culture, blurring the line between music and the streets in a way no one had seen before. The case dragged on for nearly 3 exhausting years, eventually becoming the longest criminal trial in Georgia's history. After spending 29 months behind bars, Thug's legal team finally secured a plea deal on October 31st, 2024, marking the end of a nightmare that had consumed his career and his freedom. But the investigation itself had been brewing for years. Authorities had reportedly been tracking YSL and its affiliates since as far back as 2013, slowly building a file that listed 56 alleged crimes between 2013 and 2022. By the time the charges dropped, the case was already massive, proof that law enforcement had been planning this takedown long before the headlines hit. The scale of this whole case was unreal. Everything from the 2015 murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. to the 2022 shooting involving Lil Wayne's tour bus was allegedly tied to YSL's so-called criminal network. The authorities came down heavy, like real heavy. The arrests weren't quiet pull-ups. They were full-force raids that felt more like a military invasion than a standard police operation. People on the scene said it looked like a war zone. Helicopters hovering, streets blocked off, officers everywhere. That level of pressure left folks traumatized, confused, and scared, wondering how a rap label turned into the center of one of the biggest Rico busts ever. But what really made this case controversial wasn't just the violence, it was how the prosecutors built it. Their legal strategy shocked the culture because it leaned hard on one thing: rap lyrics. Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis defended using lyrics as evidence, saying, "If you decide to admit your crimes over a beat, I'm gonna use it." That statement split the entire hip-hop world in half. Some called it a smart move by the law, others said it was an attack on artistic freedom. The debate exploded online. Artists, fans, and even lawyers arguing over whether bars could be used as proof in court. But that wasn't the only blow to Thug's image. Another piece of evidence came from an old, unrelated situation, a leaked interrogation video showing him talking with police about past incidents. Critics said that clip didn't match the never cooperate image he later stood on, and it sparked a whole new wave of backlash. For many, the footage blurred the line between survival and street code, and it hit Thug's credibility hard in the eyes of the culture. The Rico case didn't just shake the industry, it tore lives apart. But nobody felt that weight heavier than young Thug himself. The psychological pressure of possibly spending decades behind bars, mixed with the loneliness of being locked away and watching close relationships crumble, created the perfect storm for what came next. That stress, pain, and confusion poured out in those leaked phone calls. The rawest glimpse into a man breaking under pressure while still trying to keep his head high. You could hear it in every word. Thug was processing betrayal, disappointment, and fear all at once while still fighting for his freedom. What made it even more tragic was knowing that he seemed fully aware those calls might eventually surface. Even while talking, he knew they could come back to haunt him. It was a man caught between loyalty and survival, speaking from a place of pure exhaustion. But the price for freedom didn't come cheap. Thug eventually took a plea deal that brought his long legal battle to an end, but at a major cost. He pled guilty to gang, drug, and gun charges, earning time served plus 15 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and a $100,000 fine. The restrictions were no joke. He was banned from certain Atlanta zones and forbidden from associating with anyone tied to his past crew. That basically cut him off from big parts of his hometown and most of the people who helped build his legacy. People who've been through the system know what that means. It's like living with a shadow over your shoulder. One wrong move, one bad location, and everything could come crashing down again. Street smart folks call it a revolving door setup, a trap that keeps you under pressure. Always one step away from losing your freedom all over again. And the big question now floating through the hip-hop world is this: can young Thug really make it through 15 years of probation without slipping up? That's the talk all through the streets and the industry. A lot of seasoned vets are saying the odds are stacked against him. 15 years is a long grind under constant watch, and with restrictions that tight, one small mistake could flip everything upside down. Thug's probation is no simple deal. It's full of strict terms, movement bans, and constant monitoring. Add to that his massive public profile and the lingering controversy from those leaked calls, and the pressure is sky high. Every move he makes now has eyes on it, and that's what makes his situation so dangerous. One misunderstanding or wrong connection could trigger a violation and send him straight back inside. Meanwhile, YSL, the label that once put Atlanta on fire, has taken a major hit. What was once a powerhouse crew of young talent has been torn apart by the Rico fallout. Some members took plea deals, others walked away to protect themselves, and a few are still tangled in their own legal messes. The whole empire that Thug built from the ground up now stands scattered across the industry. Even worse, the leaked calls themselves could cause new problems. If the authorities believe all that public drama might spark violence or break his probation terms, they could actually use it against him. That means those same phone calls that rocked the internet could still haunt his future in court. And beyond Thug, the YSL case has sent a chill through the whole rap game. Legal experts are warning that this situation could set a dangerous precedent, where lyrics and art get twisted into evidence. That idea scares a lot of artists, who now have to wonder if their creativity could be used against them one day. It's more than a case. It's a message to the entire culture about how thin the line really is between expression, loyalty, and survival in the modern rap world. This whole case completely flipped the music industry upside down. Record labels and artists everywhere are now way more cautious about their lyrics, visuals, and even their collaborations. Nobody wants their art mistaken for criminal activity ever again. The ripple effect has changed how business is done in hip-hop forever. But beyond the courtrooms and headlines, the real tragedy is human. A legendary career got derailed, friendships were shattered, and a man's freedom still hangs by a thread for the next decade and a half. The emotional and creative cost of all this can't even be measured. It's the price of fame colliding with the system. At the end of the day, those leaked calls weren't the root of the problem. They were just symptoms of something much bigger. The ongoing clash between creativity, street authenticity, and a justice system that seems determined to make an example out of one of hip-hop's most unique voices. And that's where we'll leave it for now, but this story is far from over. What happens next could reshape the entire culture all over again. If you're rocking with this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next wild story dropping soon. Hit that bell, stay locked in, and I'll catch you in the next one.